Using AI to customize your Squarespace website sounds amazing until the code doesn't work and suddenly you have no idea how to fix it. If you've ever copied AI-generated CSS into Squarespace, hoping it would just magically work, only to end up with broken styling or hours of troubleshooting, then this video is for you. Today I'm going to walk you through the core CSS fundamentals you need so that AI becomes a helpful creative partner instead of a source of frustration. We'll cover what CSS actually does in Squarespace and what it doesn't, where to safely add your code, basic CSS structure, how to master selectors so you target exactly the right elements, safe testing practices, and my go-to debugging workflow. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rebecca Grace from Rebecca Grace Designs, and I help Squarespace designers use code to break free of Squarespace editor limitations. Let's jump in. First of all, let's go over what CSS actually is, what it does, what it doesn't do, and how to use it safely. So CSS is basically your secret weapon for customizing your Squarespace design. Anytime you're working in the editor and thinking, I wish I could move that slightly, or I want that font bigger on mobile, why can't I change just that button? That's where CSS comes in. You can use it to fine-tune spacing, adjust colors and typography, control mobile behavior, customize layouts beyond what the template can do, and override Squarespace's default styling. I like to think of CSS as sort of the makeup artist for your website. Squarespace gives you the structure, and CSS gives you the finishing touches. Now here's where people get tripped up, especially when using AI. CSS does not add functionality or content, so it can't create forms, add e-commerce features, build calculators or booking tools, change backend behavior, handle data processing, manage SEO settings, and anything like that. It's purely visual styling. So if you're trying to fundamentally change the functionality or add content, CSS is not the tool for that. In terms of where it should live inside of Squarespace, most of your CSS should live in the custom CSS panel, and you'll find this under Pages, Custom Code, Custom CSS. Or honestly, the easiest way is just to press the / key, and it will bring up a search bar that you can just search Custom CSS. You can add CSS in code blocks or in the Pages advanced settings, but that can get messy fast. So if you want clean, maintainable code, stick with the main CSS panel for about 99% of the cases. So let's jump into the basic CSS structure. If you don't understand the basic structure, it doesn't really matter how good the AI-generated code looks, you're not going to understand how to fix it. It does follow a simple pattern. It looks like this. You have a selector, then an open bracket, then your properties and values, and a closing bracket. Okay? You have to make sure when you're writing this that you have the proper opening and closing bracket as well as semicolons after your properties. But that's it. The open curly bracket tells the browser, okay, here is the styling instructions for this thing, and the closing bracket tells it, okay, that's it, we're moving on. The semicolons at the end of each line definitely matter. If you forget a semicolon after one of them, it will break your CSS. You can stack multiple properties inside the same brackets, and actually you should. If you're styling a button, for example, you might want to include background color, text color, padding, border radius, anything like that, all grouped together under one selector. It keeps your code clean, prevents any duplicates if you decide to write more code for a button later on, and also makes debugging way easier. So please, please, please keep your code together and make sure that you're indenting your code to help with readability. It sounds small, but this can save you so much time when something stops working. So always check your structure to make sure that you haven't missed any brackets and that you have it indented properly. So let's talk about selectors. The selector is what tells your browser what you want to style. Think of it like your targeting system. You're basically pointing at a specific element on your Squarespace site and saying, change this. You can target elements in a few ways. You can target by an HTML tag like h1 for headings. You can target by classes which start with a dot, or by IDs which starts with a hashtag. The selector always comes first in your CSS rule because it determines where the styling will apply. We're going to dive into that much deeper in a little bit in this video because it is the number one place that AI generated CSS goes wrong. So I want to dive into that a little bit deeper. If this selector is wrong, then nothing else matters. The rest of your code can be perfect, but it's not going to be targeting properly. So let's talk about those properties. We have the selector, opening bracket, and then properties and values. The selectors tell CSS what to style, the properties tell it how to style it. So this is where the actual design changes happen. Properties control things like the text color, the font size, background color, spacing, effects, all of that sort of thing. So for example, with typography, you can include things like the font family, the font size, the font weight. Colors can include color, background color, border color. Spacing includes margin and padding, the width, the height. You can have layout properties like display and position. And each of these properties needs a specific type of value. So colors can be hex codes, like hashtag FFFFF, and that's for white. Sizes can be pixels or percentages or rem units. The more familiar you get with properties and which values that they accept, the easier debugging becomes. And if you want help with that, I did actually create a free guide listing 41 of the most commonly used CSS properties and their value options, and I'll link that below. It's a great reference while you're learning. Okay, so let's dive into those selectors a bit more because this is how you target an element. If there's going to be something wrong in the code, this is generally where it's going to be. Selectors are basically how you tell the browser exactly what you want to style. I like to think of them again as your targeting or GPS system. Without selectors, you'd be trying to change colors, fonts, or layouts across the entire site when really you just want to tweak one tiny section. Selectors give you that precision. You can target a single button, a single image, or every heading on your site. And that level of control is what makes CSS so powerful. But here's something really important that you need to understand. Selectors change depending on the platform. So code written for WordPress, for example, won't necessarily work in Squarespace. So unless your AI tool specifically understands Squarespace structure, then this is often where the AI generated code will be wrong. That's why learning how selectors work inside of Squarespace specifically is such a game changer. It will make debugging so much easier. So instead of guessing, you actually know what you're looking for. So let's break down the two selectors you'll use most: class selectors and ID selectors. Class selectors start with a dot, and they usually target multiple elements, where ID selectors start with a hashtag, and this targets one unique element. So for example, if you want to add a shadow to one specific image on your About page, you'd use the block ID of that image because you want to target only that one specific thing. But if you want to add a shadow to every image on your site, then you're going to use a class selector that matches that image that you want to use. So whatever the selector is for that type of image, then that's the selector you would use. The key is choosing the selector that matches only what you want to change. If it's too broad, too many things will change. If it's too specific, nothing happens. So how do you actually find these selectors? This is where the Chrome developer tools come in. So what you're going to do is open your Squarespace site in Chrome, right-click on the element you want to style, and click Inspect. Developer tools will open up and show you the HTML structure, including the classes and IDs that you can target. At first, this can look quite overwhelming, but Squarespace actually uses pretty consistent naming patterns. So once you start to recognize these patterns and you've practiced with the code a little bit more, finding the selectors becomes much easier. Now to level that up a bit, you can use pseudo classes, which allow you to add interactive styling without writing JavaScript. So for example, you can do things like hovering, clicking, focusing on an element, and these are by :hover, :focus, :active, and :visited. Hover effects are especially powerful. Something as simple as a button changing color on hover can make your site feel way more polished and interactive. There's also position-based pseudo classes like first child, last child, nth child, and these let you style specific items in a list or a grid without adding extra classes. For example, if you only want to style the first item in a list, then First Child does that instantly. Super handy. So if you want to take one thing away from this section, it's that selectors are everything. If your selector is wrong, the rest of your CSS doesn't matter. But once you understand how to target elements properly, especially in Squarespace, working with AI-generated code becomes way less frustrating. Next, we're going to talk about how to safely test your CSS before it touches your live site. So please do not skip testing. Untested CSS can cause mobile issues, can make it look fine on one browser but terrible elsewhere. Your visitors expect a seamless experience, and so always test before going live. Now with CSS, it's pretty safe that you're not going to cause your site to break and things to not be reversed. If the CSS doesn't work, you can just delete it back out. But it's always a good idea to test it so that you're creating that seamless experience. I actually have a whole separate video on this, and again, I'll link that below. Finally, let's talk about debugging in CSS, how you fix those issues and keep code organized. So you copy and paste the code into Squarespace and it's not working. This is what I suggest you do. First, check the custom CSS panel and see if there is any structural errors. Squarespace is usually pretty good at flagging this. You're looking for missing brackets, missing semicolons, any sort of syntax errors. Assuming that's all good, you're going to check the selector in the developer tools. If your style isn't showing up, chances are the selector might be wrong or not specific enough. If styles are crossed out, then something is overriding them. This is when you adjust, specifically use that important tag only as a last resort, but if Squarespace is overriding your code, you can use that to make your code more important. Finally, you can test changes directly inside developer tools before committing to them, which can save you some time. In terms of keeping your code clean and organized, make sure you're commenting your code. Seriously, future you will thank you. You're adding notes about what the code does, why you added it, when you added it, so if you have to go back in later on, you're not just looking at lines of code, you know what it does. Also, group related styles together following a logical structure to keep things tidy. Again, that saves many headaches from later on. Messy CSS leads to conflicts, redundant rules, and slower troubleshooting. Make sure you're also doing regular cleanups, removing duplicates, deleting unused experiments you've done, consolidating similar styles. Remember, clean code isn't just an aesthetic, it improves performance and makes updates easier. And again, I do have a blog post on this that I will link below. So now you are ready to start using AI-generated CSS in Squarespace. Once you understand these CSS fundamentals, AI becomes way more powerful. You'll communicate better prompts, you'll be able to spot errors faster, fix issues confidently, and create more professional designs. Start practicing on a test page first. Don't jump straight into major site changes. Practice on a trial site so you can become more confident. If you do want to go deeper into custom coding for Squarespace, I'd love to invite you to join the waitlist for the Creative Coders Academy. It's my self-paced course for Squarespace designers who want to move beyond template limits, confidently use custom code, and offer high-value design services. I'll provide a link below if you want to check that out. Now that you feel more confident about using AI-generated code, check out this next video on how to safely test that code without breaking your site.